Hello, my name is Nicolas Polimenakos. I work behind the scenes here at NORWAC, the Northwest Astrological Conference. It's happening May 22nd to May 26th. Today I'm with Wade Caves. Hello, Wade.
Hey, how's it going, Nicholas?
I'm good. I'm good. For those interested and are thinking about going to this conference, it's sold out in person,
Wow.
but it's a hybrid model, so you can attend online and in many different ways. If you're interested in any of this, go to the website norwac.net. You'll see the speaker lineups, the lecture titles, the registration page, etc. The lectures, Wade, you're doing three different lectures in a sense. On Friday, you're doing a lecture, May 23rd, called Astrology of the Year, the Aries Ingress in Action.
Mm.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I mean, the world is, what the world is at the moment. And I think a lot of us are searching for answers or different places where we can find some guidance. Mundane astrology, which is astrology that concerns itself with the measurement of macro cycles and things that are happening sociopolitically, geopolitically, trends in art and faith and in technology and science, all of these things that are beyond the scope of one person's birth chart, for instance, or might not be necessarily. So, electional astrology, you're looking for a place and time to do something. Birth chart astrology, we all know. Horary astrology is a specialization, but there's this whole other branch that captures like everything else. So it's called mundane astrology. One of the most fundamental techniques here is to establish as if it was like a global solar return. So what's the
Mm.
forecast for the year ahead? And you can work with that astrology in a large global sense. I mean, the aspects will be the same the world over because it happens at one moment, at the exact moment of the vernal equinox on March 20th or thereabouts. And different parts of the world will have different angles, So, for instance, if we've got Cancer angular in a certain part of Europe, it's definitely going to be an earlier sign in the Americas because we're a little bit behind. So the aspects will be the same, but the configuration, how it lands with the angles, the different houses and how they're all laid out, that will be different. So then you can localize these effects to your region. So if you're interested in working with any type of astrology connected to geopolitical, sociopolitical realities, but also because it's the Aries ingress and the sun has natural signification over leaders of all types, it is really powerful in use of new leaders who step forward in the course of a year, whether that's a political leader or somebody who's leading a movement or an organization, anything like that. So it's a very useful thing to have some exposure to, if nothing else. But I've got some cool case studies to introduce in that presentation.
Yeah, that's interesting. This year is one big case study,
I mean,
basically
I
because
feel like
it's,
we've been unfortunately in a case study since 2001, and
yeah, considering the
um,
transits that are happening over this
uh-huh,
point too this year. I mean, we're in a few days here, we're going to have another, Venus ingress Aries.
yeah,
Okay, that's on Friday
that's
that
on
you're
Friday.
doing
Yeah,
that lecture. Saturday is interesting here on the 24th. You're just for people watching here and not familiar with NORWAC, there's the lectures and there's keynotes that happen. And the Saturday night keynote lecture is its own thing, and it's pretty much connected to a dinner party that's happening in person. Everybody eats
mm,
in person, but it's afterwards where there's a keynote speaker, and it is you, Wade, the Saturday night lecture. And it's usually a little bit more different than other lectures, everyone's imbibing, feeling pretty good. It's a good vibe. So you're doing that Saturday night keynote,
yeah,
and it's called the 8 Year Cycles of Venus. And so I'll
yeah.
read a little bit here. It says through interpersonal literature and historical themes, we'll explore the multifaceted symbolism of Venus and its 8 year synodic cycle, employed since Babylonian times to measure fertility cycles and stir warriors for battle. So you're leading into something here. Uh, we're having an interesting Venus year, as we speak right now, is what
Yeah.
Venus has been doing. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
This is one of my favorite presentations that I've developed in a long time. It's pure storytelling. I mean, I'm not trying to lean heavy into technique or trying to, demonstrate how this works here, works there. I remember when I was in high school, my English teacher had made some comment about a book that we were reading, and it was just this off the wall throwaway comment about how the color green in medieval and Renaissance literature, like Western literature principally, that color green, the symbolism that's behind it when authors invoke that color. And it was just a comment that he made, which I'll tell the whole comment in the presentation itself, so I don't want to ruin it just yet. But he had made this comment, and I didn't have anything to do with it at the time. It just kind of sat in the back of my brain, like this is a thing that I've heard, and I don't know why it stuck out to me, but it sat there. And now many years later, I've graduated high school a long time ago, and so now I have somewhere to put that particular sentence, and I went back to go investigate, is that what did he mean by that? And can I see any evidence of that elsewhere? Is this just this guy's opinion or what's going on? And yeah, it drew out this whole conversation about the color green and the role of Venus in literature. But I've also, I've spent a lot of time studying the life of, or the transmission of astrological information in the West. And, it's a pretty important story that sets the stage for what happened around the Hellenistic era, which is the campaigns of Alexander. So there's also a very strong Venus story there. So this is just an opportunity to explore, all the different themes that come forward with this planet. Many of the times when we think about Venus, we think about love and justice and fairness, but there was a very serious theme with Venus that
Oh
was
yeah.
also connected to war and rallying warriors up for, to raise their banners. And yeah.
Yeah, that's by the way, I'm doing a lot of these videos with many speakers, including yourself, and I'm purposely wearing green in every single
You're
one.
wearing green dress. Fabulous.
Purposely, I have my reasons. So, uh,
Well, that's
uh,
great.
yeah, thank you for telling us about that. Saturday nights are usually really fun and casual, a certain vibe that happens at the conference.
Yeah, I've done this slot once before and had the time of my life. It was so much fun, and I'm
Yeah,
excited to
no,
get to do it again.
it's good vibes. And even online, for those if you're thinking about purchasing and being online, even in our chat rooms, we got a big meeting room, breakout room that's always there when the lectures aren't happening. And even on Saturday night last year when I was popping in and out of there, everyone was coming in having a good time. And then after the keynote's done, we this year we're like Samantha, who's facilitating the online part, another astrologer, kind of
Hmm.
does their version of a costume party kind of thing
Oh,
that's
fun.
happening this year online. And then last year I was even popping in, bringing in speakers that were at the hotel into the Zoom rooms on Saturday night.
Oh,
So
that's great. It's like, yeah, I could imagine like a virtual background party or something like
yeah, I
that.
was bringing in people, and they've had a few, I'm like, I don't know if I want to go
Well,
on camera. I'm like, this is exactly what I want.
yeah,
So
exactly. Well, I think what's great about NORWAC, because there's been so much focus on hybrid conferences, but getting that right is hard. And I
yeah.
just want to say, if you're listening to this and on the fence about joining this conference virtually, Laura, who heads up with a team of people, the Northwest Astrological Conference, she puts a lot of work in making sure that the online community and folks who are joining there are getting the experience of being attended to, feeling present, feeling like their needs are being met. The speakers, we get very clear direction on how to make sure that you guys are included, and we're paying attention to questions that are coming in, engagement that's coming in on the virtual conference through that, Zoom interface. So I just want to say we're ready for you. If you're thinking about wanting to come and see this virtually, I strongly recommend going for it. Give it a shot.
Yeah, no, thanks for saying that, Wade. I know these little things in the background with the speakers. There's is like for regular lectures, these things like you try not to move away from the podium to stay in the camera thing. And then we have room monitors in each lecture period that are facilitating questions
Yeah.
that they're going to speakers to create that. There's a function on Zoom for live captioning that's happening too. It's
Yeah, the
happening.
technology is so much better than when we first did this, right?
I know it's so much has changed in the last time. It's accelerated technology and it's still
Yeah,
morphing. So,
yeah.
speaking on that too, like another part of this online conference is NORWAC has these Q&As that happen in between the lecture times. And so every speaker that's at NORWAC at one point is going to be in a Q&A. You're going to be in a Q&A on Saturday at 12 p.m. It's yourself, Nina Griffin, Ari Moshe, and Jen Zart. Samantha's going to be facilitating. So a lot of times, people in the chat rooms, they're asking questions. Sometimes we even bring them up on the screen with the speakers.
Mm.
Usually, there's a question, and then there's kind of an improvisational conversation that happens in the Q&As. And so I'll be facilitating some of them too. We have a bunch of them. That's also part of the online package, so on and so forth. Wade, you're not done at this conference because on Monday after the official conference is done, we have post-conference workshops that happen. We have pre and post. You can go to norwac.net and see the schedule for those, but you're doing a post-conference workshop, meeting the moment with Horary Astrology. This is a big deal right here. For anybody who's interested in Horary Astrology, tell us a little bit. Let's just pretend we could do a brief thing what that means. If somebody doesn't know what that means,
Yeah,
so.
somebody comes to you with the problem and they can define it and they're struggling to figure out how to resolve it. And this horary is a great technique for that. It zeroes in at the heart of what's going on. There's a lot of things that you can reach for with the natal chart. You can look a lot in, global, mundane astrology as well. I think a lot of people reach for the birth chart because it's what they know and it's what they're comfortable with. But horary is a technique that allows quite incisive response to particular themes that somebody's exploring. So questions that we might get, for instance, are will I be able to sell my property for a good price within the time frame that I need? And what could I do differently to ensure a healthy, profitable sale? Um, will I get pregnant this year? I've lost my passport. Where is it? Will I get the job? I'm in relationship distress. What can I do or is there anything that I can do to, help smooth this road? Is there future in this relationship? I mean, if it's a problem that's real and it's yours, then Horary can help you respond to it. So this full day workshop because it is a full day one. My understanding, if I've got this right, so you correct me, don't let me lie, but I believe the pre-conference workshops are half days. So if you are interested in, a workshop experience, but you don't know that you can dedicate a full day, there's plenty of options on that Thursday, right? Or
Yeah,
is
the
it?
Thursday and Friday, the pre's a little, yeah, especially the Friday's a little shorter,
Yeah.
but these Mondays, like, you're going from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. with some
Yeah.
breaks in between, but it's pretty
Yeah.
thorough,
Yeah.
the post-conference workshops, and especially
Yeah, full
yours.
day workshop. So in this workshop, I'm going to assume that people who are coming will have some reasonable grasp of the basics of astrology. You'll know your signs, your planets, your houses, your aspects. But I want to kind of whet your appetite a little bit for what's possible with astrology. So if you've not been introduced to horary before, this will be great for you. If you already know horary or exposed, and you're always looking for opportunities to sharpen your toolkit with somebody who practices this day in, day out. There's not a day that goes by that's not part of my life. So if you feel like I understand horary, but I may not have the muscle completely developed the way that I'd like, well, then come join us. There'll be plenty of case studies for you to try your hand at.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as we move through the different themes, because there will be different themes throughout the day, we'll explore career charts, for instance, pregnancy charts, for instance, and investment charts, and all sorts of different techniques, missing object charts, great stories, really compelling things. What I think is really amazing in these scenarios is everybody walks in thinking, I don't know what's going to happen here. But students end up doing a lot better than they realize, and starting to put the pieces together and can end up delivering interpretations of horary charts that are closer than they thought they might have by the end of the day. So you'll feel some progress. But if nothing else, it will expose you, to this branch of astrology that's becoming much more well known now. But
Yeah, it's making a comeback, I know many people, colleagues and students that are jumping in, and plus it just changes your brain how you interact with astrology.
it
I mean,
does. I
it
think
just
so too.
changes everything. So,
Yeah, I think so too.
yeah.
So it's a good opportunity. It doesn't matter where you're at with your study of horary astrology. I promise you haven't seen this question. That's all I can say is like, you might have judged a similar question, for instance, but I can give you a new case study and we can explore it together. And there will even be examples of, hard moments that I've had to learn something. I went in
Yeah.
this direction with it and should have gone somewhere else. And we'll have honest conversations about what you do in those circumstances.
Yeah,
So
no, that's great. Again, it's the interesting thing about NORWAC too is, you could purchase the weekend and go the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The pre and post conference lectures you can purchase separately. If you purchase the whole weekend, you do get a price break on any of the pre and post. If you just want to attend Wade's post conference lecture, you can just do that too.
yeah.
And even in person, if like you're happen going to be there and you're like during the weekend, you're like, I think I have time. I think I want to go do this. You can even in person at NORWAC, you know, buy in and go to the, eat pre or the post too. There's many different ways you can do things with the conference. Just go to norwac.net. Again, you'll see the registration page, the prices, the lineups, the deeper descriptions of all the lectures and the pre and post conference lectures that are happening there, etc., etc. Wait, I'm going to see you here. It's within a couple of weeks here. We're doing this
I
video before I
know.
know
Oh
I'm going
my
to see
goodness,
you.
it's coming up
So
so fast.
yeah, so which will be great to see yourself and everybody there. And also too, last year when I was kind of in and out of the online part of it, I met people there online. And it's interesting, and some of them we've had conversations afterwards. And I know other attendees found people that they connected to, let's say that were at the same part of the astrological journey as themselves,
Yeah,
and that's the other part, the social part of it in person and online, and so we do our best to create the rooms there for people to interact and stuff like
yeah,
that too. So
yeah.
anyway, yeah, before we know it, we'll see each other. Wade, thank you for stopping in and talking about things.
Yeah, I appreciate the invitation and I hope to see all of you guys either virtually or in person. Really looking forward to connecting. And thanks, Nicholas, for taking time to talk.
No problem, Wade. All right, everybody, see ya.